I hear you. I've been
Thank you
there.
for your patience and good to see you both again.
You too.
Thank you. Thank you. I just have to do something with my sound, I think. Just one minute.
Oh, cool. I like your background.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm assuming my background. I'm like, thank you.
Yes. Oh,
Well, we like yours too.
thank you very much. Hey,
Yes,
today's the day. I mean,
that's right.
I'm
Today's the
very
day.
excited.
Oh,
I'm
he's just burning up the Facebook and Twitter and he's all over the place. He is upset.
Yeah. And now he's trying to, of course, save face so he can save his job. So he's in campaign mode.
Yeah, yeah.
I was going to ask you, Gail, would you be able to record the Zoom link, Zoom video directly?
That's what I'm
Or you
doing today.
already are?
We did that, I think with Grover, we had recorded that
Oh, cool.
too.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, it's recording. I'm not going to go over the GoPro, so it's being recorded directly. So the sound quality should be
Gotcha.
better. Okay, so as you see, there's a new person, Cindy. She's joined us today also. She's part of the recall
Oh,
with Charlotte. You can't see her, unfortunately, but she's been out on a lot of the recalls around here in San Diego. So we thought we'd invite her in also for some questions for you. So again, thank you for joining us today for the probably second session now of our interview questions for you running for governor. And today Charlotte is going to start with the first question.
all right.
Okay. So again, welcome and thank you. What we thought we would talk about today would be our California economy and bringing back jobs and what your plan is to do that. California rates their poverty, the poverty rate for California is 11.8%, which is really high. And we are second in the nation in taxation at 13.3%. How do you plan to get jobs to come back to California or innovation to create new jobs after this pandemic?
Absolutely. Well, the biggest incentive for any business would be to cut some of these taxes that are scaring them away. That's exactly what I plan on doing, is cutting a majority of the taxes that the state receives income from, like the business tax, payroll taxes, et cetera. So we'll be shifting to a non-taxpayer revenue generated income, which is basically other ways of making money that isn't taking taxpayers' money, such as, excuse me, unfortunately, our government already does that through ticketing. So it's more of a malicious way of doing that, and parking fees, et cetera. My way of doing that is more so expansive. So for instance, taking some of our state highways and leasing them off to some of these larger corporations for naming rights, like AT&T and Verizon or Disney even, to where they'll pay 10 million, hundreds of millions of dollars, if not, so they can again have that highway named after them. So that'll be a way that we can also make money for the state and not have to pay out of our pockets for maintenance of the highways as well. So it's very beneficial in multiple ways. And of course, with the businesses not having to pay any more business taxes, that'll encourage them to want to stay here in the state. And of course, release some or reduce some of those regulations that are preventing them from being able to expand either. Some of the zoning laws prevent them from being able to build, housing in certain areas when it comes to, property development companies, if they want to provide, affordable housing for a certain community. If they have zoning laws that prevent them from being able to build, then that of course is going to prevent any type of development in that area. So cut those zoning laws, cut those fees and taxes and regulations, and allow more innovation to, develop.
Cindy, do you have a question towards that? Cindy?
Hi, Cindy.
Like,
Did I answer that fully for you, Charlotte? I mean, I could definitely go on.
You know what? You just say whatever you feel like saying, and we'll, if we've got a question, we'll just kind of pop in and, But no,
Well, the biggest thing
elaborate
right now
more. Go ahead, please.
Well, the biggest thing right now for the smaller businesses is they're having a hard time because of the lockdowns, them being told your business must stay closed, they must operate in a certain fashion in order for them to be able to open up to the public. That's just absurd that they have to abide by so many guidelines, and if they don't, they're fined even. So that's not helping them in being able to sustain themselves. So stop finding these businesses, and again, remove those guidelines and provisions that are preventing them from being able to open up at their own discretion. That's my whole goal, is no business should be forced to close. It should be their own choice on if they want to open up their businesses, how they choose to do so, and it should be up to customers to go in and be a patron to that business if they choose to do so.
So I have one question regarding that. Since, as you mentioned, so many businesses have closed in California and they are not going to return.
Right.
What are we going to do for an incentive for people that are going to open businesses in the future in California and are scared that, like, if something like this happens again, that we're in the same predicament?
Right. Well, again, if I'm governor, there won't be any forced lockdowns or forced closures for that matter. They'll be all based on recommendations, and they should have been in the first place. I mean, the governor right now is acting beyond emergency powers that were given to him because of this pandemic. And we're starting to see a ripple effect of the harm that's been done. I mean, we were the first state to implement those lockdowns. We're one of the last states to still have them, even though we have the highest number of cases in the entire country. So what the governor did definitely did not help from people contracting the virus. And again, it should be left up to people themselves to choose how they go about living their day-to-day lives. Now, as far as those businesses that have left and probably won't open their doors again, it's unfortunate that that has happened, but that also opens up the door of opportunity for new businesses to be created and developed. And that's why I say the biggest incentive there for any person that wants to do that in California is to remove some of those barriers that discourage people from wanting to do that to begin with, mainly having to do with money, especially right now when it's hard to come by and people are, doing their best to make ends meet. So they don't have to pay business license fees or have to pay for any permits, and are just given pretty much the green light to use whatever amount of money that they have to get their business started and generate more income for our economy. Then I believe that'll be the biggest motivator for any business to start.
I have another question to go along with that. There is this $15 minimum wage. I believe, is that in California in effect right now, Charlotte? Would you know that?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was passed or into law a few years back. So I believe by next year, It should be 15. It goes up gradually up like 50 cents each year until it hits $15. I think right now it's like at a 12 and a half or so. So it'll continue to go up until it hits that $15 mark. I am a promoter of, people being able to go out and find a job and for whatever wage they think is beneficial to them. I don't think there should be any minimum wage laws at all. So I'll do everything in my power to make sure those are eliminated. So if you as a business owner want to pay a certain dollar amount to an employee and they accept that wage, then that agreement is between you and your employee. The government shouldn't have any say so in that whatsoever, because that of course is given an opportunity for the wage earner to now generate an income for themselves. And that's exactly what we want. More people working right now, more jobs being created, more businesses being able to grow. And that of course is going to in turn help everyone in the state.
Yes.
So
Thank you
you
for answering
touched,
that question.
yes, you touched briefly on zoning requirements and that kind of thing. Can we talk about housing? Let's talk about
Yes.
housing. Housing in California is off the charts. People can't afford, they can't afford to live here. Even, and I love this, the whole $15 an hour thing. Like people can really purchase a home in California on $15 an hour.
Right.
Are you serious? So how do we build that bridge between housing and our wages? What are we gonna do? It is almost in my mind, to the point, oh my gosh, just plow everything down and start over.
Well, believe it or not, we have a lot of laws here in California that are anti-labor. I mean, just look at AB 5, which prevents people from working as an independent contractor in the state. So if a home developer wants to hire, roofers and, flooring contractors or whatever the case may be, then it'll be difficult for them to do so, because now they have to hire these individuals on as employees and pay them medical benefits, et cetera, et cetera. So the cost goes up for them, instead of them being able to operate as before, where they would hire them as an independent contractor, pay them their wage, and then that's it. So what I would be doing as governor is nullifying all of those anti-labor laws like AB 5 and the minimum wage laws, to again open the door for more creation, more, and encourage those business developers to now go into communities and negotiate with local officials on where they can build, as well as, of course, the residents of those neighborhoods, and get started on that. I just read an article about how the city of Rancho Margarita, I believe, or Rancho Mirage in California will now be creating an entire community built of 3D printed homes. I talked about that before as my solution to homelessness. So it's now being embraced for commercial development, opposed to where, again, I'd be doing so for public housing, to, give roofs to those that are unhoused in the state. And I think it's a two-way street there as well. We can also use public funds to help build public housing, to provide homes for the unhoused, and also, again, remove some of those zoning regulations so more homes can be developed by companies like this 3D printed company or 3D printed home company. So I definitely believe that with less government red tape, we'll see, a pretty much a more booming housing market become a result of that.
I would like to add something to that. Charlotte and I did discuss that when you spoke about the 3D homing, or the, how you want to implement that. We were just curious, and this is a curious question and a very neutral question. There's a lot of facilities, there's a lot of schools that are empty, other, major buildings around the state that are empty. Wouldn't it make more sense to work with some of those buildings that we have instead of going with these 3D homes? Because I mean, it would bring more jobs, of course, for people, I guess, to work those machines. Charlotte, you said the machines are pretty large, aren't they? To make the
They're
3D.
very large.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
could you just touch on that a
But
little
they,
bit so I can understand that better?
Yeah, I mean, my solution for homelessness not only includes 3D printed homes, but use of those dilapidated buildings that you're bringing up as well. We have a lot of those here in Fresno, old hospitals, old hotels that aren't being used at this time. So we definitely could retrofit those and have them be made available as public housing units. So it's multiple ways that we can solve the problem. And that's why I think inviting in more nonprofit organizations, more community groups that have actually been involved with dealing with these issues for decades, they have more of a better understanding as to how these programs could work, wraparound services. And again, who would qualify or who would be in need of more immediate housing versus others that may need, mental health services or drug abuse rehabilitation, So it would be a partnership between working with those organizations to come up with the best way to, again, help all of those in need. And you may have some people that just need a home for a month, but this would be, of course, temporary housing. So year to year, people would have to, qualify and be eligible to remain in that home.
Mhm.
And you would lay
There
out
is a,
sorry.
yeah,
Pardon me?
Charlotte.
um, there is a, you got me thinking about this. Actually, Gail and I you got us really thinking about this
All
whole
right.
3D printer thing. And of course, what Gail said, well, why don't, we need to utilize what's already here. And we went off thinking, okay, well, if you took a military base, not everybody's going to want to go out to a military base, but if you made those training bases to retrain people, what in your thinking, in your steps to getting people back into society, productive society,
Mhm.
what would be your steps to do that with the homeless situation?
Sure. Well, each person is different, and because of that, each case will need to be handled, on a case-by-case scenario. So I've spoken to tons of unhoused individuals, and some of them, believe it or not, just had a bad break. They probably were staying with a relative and was working and was put out of their house. Now they're living out of their car, still going to work every day.
Mhm.
So if they just had a temporary place to stay, now they, instead of, having to live on the streets, are able to save that money, go out, possibly even buy a bigger home than the temporary one that's being provided for them. On the other side, you do have those that are dealing with mental health issues and need more, I guess, of a hands-on type of um, more hands-on help than others.
Mhm.
With those people, I would definitely, again, invite in other organizations that are more outfitted to provide rehabilitative services to those that may be dealing with a mental health issue or maybe a substance abuse issue, because again, they are looking more so for a way to get their mind right before they get back into society. So even if we do provide a roof over their heads, if they're still dealing with those type of addictive behaviors and mental health problems, then it's not going to help them. And we, of course, want to make sure that the mind, body, and spirit of all of the residents in California is as best as it could be. So that's my goal as governor, is to work with as many different organizations, as many different community groups, churches, individuals as possible to help out everyone in our community.
Charlotte, did you want to add to that? Because I wanted to say another thing, but if you wanted to add something to that.
No, go ahead.
And I think, Charlotte, you and I had discussed when we were talking about the facilities that could be, you know, accommodated or upgraded to accommodate, you know, the homeless or the houseless, that both of us, Charlotte and myself, we thought about like having skilled, getting back to that skill work. I think a lot of people are not, you know, tech savvy or just enjoy being outdoors. So, you know, having programs like that, once these facilities are, you know, built up for the homeless, houseless, that they can learn, like there could be someone to come in and maybe school them on some sort of skills.
Yes, of course. I actually spoke with a few farmers that said they would love to teach farming skills to more people. Or even horseshoe, believe it or not, like horseshoe creation.
Yeah.
And they can do so through apprenticeships or carpentry even, you know, what is it? Electrician work and wiring and mechanical work. A lot of those people would rather take on an apprentice and teach them what they know. But there's, again, government regulations, government red tape that's preventing them from providing that opportunity to more people. So they stem that around it coming or it being based on liability issues or being a danger to that individual. And then they have to go through the rigmarole of creating some type of educational program and, you know, getting government approval before they can go and teach those skills to someone else. That's just absurd. So if we want to allow more people to gain an ability that could possibly produce an income for themselves, then why not, and you know, give them every opportunity to make that happen.
And if you have people willing to train these people, what Gail and I were thinking was on even a larger scale than that. And in that, I mean, take those empty military bases, redo whatever you need to redo to turn them into training centers. So, and maybe not just training centers, but like you said, the farming and working with animals. You know, one of the best therapeutic, you know, things out there for mentally ill people are animals. You know, well, go get some animals, you know, and you know, and like we know not everybody's going to want to move and not everybody needs to move out into the country and, you know, and do that thing. You've got people right in town that still have their job. They just need the roof over their head and they can't move out. You know, they don't have a car. They need city transportation, whatever it is, you know. But then you do have a group though that can be moved and trained and given the gifts that other people have.
Yes, that's why they should always be given the choice. We as a community should be providing the opportunities, and then them as individuals should have, of course, the God-given right to choose for themselves what they want to do. We shouldn't be forcing them to do anything against their own wills. So if they don't want to travel to a certain place or get involved in a certain program, then they don't have to. Of course, we want to encourage them to do what's best for them, but ultimately the choice is their own. So I believe as a community, we should feel um, feel resolved and knowing that we did our everything in our power to help out our fellow human. That's really what it's all about as far as government's role and what they should be doing in our community. Uh, we as individuals, we have our own, day-to-day issues to deal with in our own lives. We have our own families, we have our own jobs, we're involved in education, et cetera. So that shouldn't be the concern of the everyday person when we as taxpayers are hiring specific individuals to deal with that issue. So that would be my job as governor, is to work again with those different organizations, those different government entities to make that situation hopefully become a better one.
Okay, so we have 5 minutes left. Would anyone like to add anything? Would you like to say anything final, Nickolas?
Yes, well, just recently I was sentenced for my contempt of court trial. So I was sentenced to 30 days, or pardon me, 40 hours community service, which is okay with me since I'm a community activist. And I was sentenced to 30 days in jail, with me not having to go to jail if I complete a year of informal probation. So we're all on informal probation, which is basically just stay out of jail anyway. But I would like to beat these charges since they are, again, absurd and a violation of our constitutional rights. So right now I'm filing an appeal and again, hoping to be vindicated of these charges. So we, the people of California, could benefit from that. So I'm asking everyone to get involved with that effort. Visit my website, wildstar2022.com. Join Team Wildstar, help me get elected, since we will be having this recall for Gavin Newsom here. It looks like we have enough signatures to make that happen as of today. So expect a special election happening here before the end of the year, and more from me, candidate for California governor. So just reach out, get involved with the campaign, spread the word, because I'm a grassroots activist. I'm not funded by big pharma or Wall Street or any special interest group or union. So I need help from the commoner and every person that would like to see California be a better place for all of we the people.
All right, then thank you. Thank you again for joining us. Charlotte, any final words from you?
I just look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
All right.
Yes.
You're going to be at the debate.
Yes, please tell our community what is going on Saturday.
Yes, on Saturday, there will be a gubernatorial debate being hosted by the Patriot Group. So it will be in Corona this Saturday, March 20th at 7 p.m. So definitely be sure to come on out. It's going to be an in-person debate. It has been outfitted for social distancing and abide by the guidelines for the pandemic. So it's a safe environment for you to come and enjoy the debate. If you don't want to be there in person, you're welcome to watch online. But please be sure to pay attention to these debates, because it gives you an opportunity to get an insight as to what our potential next governor is thinking about doing, and get to know them before they take office.
Great. Thank you both. And thank you, Cindy, even though we didn't see or hear you. Thanks for joining in.
Oh, anytime. Thank you again for that. Hopefully next time I get to talk to Cindy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And if you could send me a copy of the recording, I'd appreciate it.
Will do.
All right. Take
Thank
care,
you.
ladies. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.